Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Logically Left. I'm your host, Jeff Waldorf. And boy, do we have a lot of really important news to talk about, including the fact that we are now in the middle of a regime change war. So that's great, but also terrible. Um, and actually, it's just entirely terrible. Not only are we in the middle of that, but it's also hot as hell because we are in hell. I am convinced. So, yeah, maybe we died in 2016 and now we're all collectively in hell. I don't know, but it's bad. Things are not good. I've got Trump admitting that, the entire goal of the strikes on Iran, which have already invited a counterattack, is regime change. We've got Republicans, unsurprisingly, lining up to support Trump's actions. So, what happened to the anti-war Republicans? What happened to the anti-war right? Oh, they're gone. Gone, and it's gone. Okay, all this. We don't want to go to World War III. We don't want to be involved in Iran. Oops, gone, gone. Save for a couple of rare voices, and I have no idea how long those are going to hold out. So we have that. We've got. We're gonna, switch gears on that and talk about the release of, or it should be release of, Gilmar Obrega Garcia, and that case that's happening on that, and then of course we do have a Republican negatively affected by the abortion bans. You're not going to believe who she is blaming for this. Yeah, no surprise there. So we'll get to that story and all the rest on today's show. It is, like I said, a hell of a day, and it feels like we're in hell. So, because we're in the middle of a heat dome. So, everybody, make sure to stay cool as much as you're able to, and drink plenty of fluids, all that wonderful stuff. So, but yeah, get ready because things are about to get worse. So, why don't we dive into the show? Oh, I'm sorry. Before we do that, I do want to thank a couple of members over on YouTube. Gemini SG for signing up, for, I should say, rejoining as a member over on our YouTube page, and Mike Lee, the Prude Whisperer. So that's a fun name. And of course, Bobby DePatio, thank you for joining and supporting independent progressive media, which is where you're going to find the anti-war, not on the right, as you'll see. Okay, no, it is the left that is actually firmly anti-war, and by the left, I do not mean the Democratic Party. I mean actual people on the left. Okay, so that said, why don't we dive into the first story here? Turns out the lying liar lied again. Weird. Weird how that works. My goodness. Okay. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay. It appears that President Donald Trump has admitted that his stated goal for the strikes against Iran, the unprovoked unilateral strikes in Iran, are look, the goal is regime change. Oh my goodness, here we go. Another regime change war. On Sunday, he posted this. It's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? MEGA. Make Iran great again? That's, I mean, bizarre. But there we go. Yes, we're in a regime change war started by Israel, who has long been looking to do regime change. And they finally got their wish, backed by, of course, Donald Trump, his big donors, and, of course, neocon warmongers. Yes, of course. People like Miriam Adelson, who backed the Trump administration, who backed Trump's campaign, giving millions of dollars. Then, of course, you've got Lindsey Graham. Hell, right now, John McCain, wherever he is smiling at Trump. Okay? Remember, John McCain is like, bomb, 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 Iran. So here we go. Yeah. He is doing exactly what George W. Bush did with Iraq, except that this time, it's not just like a slow buildup. We're doing a speed run, okay, into a disastrous Middle Eastern conflict. There are no weapons of mass destruction there. There never was. Now, of course, his administration, by the way, his admission undercut the stated, statements, I should say, from members of his administration, his top allies, claims that, oh, no, you don't understand. This is not a regime change war, guys, okay? It's just not.
Mr. Vice President, is the United States now at war with Iran?
No, Kristen, we're not at war with Iran. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program. That we don't want a regime change. We do not want to protract this or build this out any more than it's already been built out. We want to end their nuclear program.
It was not an attack on Iran. It was not an attack on the Iranian people. This wasn't a regime change move. This was designed to degrade and or destroy 3 nuclear sites related to their nuclear weaponization ambitions.
This mission was not and has not been about regime change.
Not about regime change, everybody. It's not about regime change. Really? Really?
Whoopsie. Whoopsie.
Now, I love how somehow raining missiles on another country is not considered war. No, we're not at war with Iran, just their nuclear program. Yeah, their domestic nuclear program, the ones that they are using to power people's homes? How's that not being at war with the Iranian people? Again, they do not have a nuclear weapon. I know the last 30 years, by the way, Israel and the neocons, they have, of course, been saying, oh, did you know Iran is about a month away from getting a nuclear weapon? Mushroom clouds everywhere. Oh, my God, we've got to bomb them. We got to bomb them now. We don't understand. We got to hit them. We got to hit them with everything we have. And guess what? Trump's the only president dumb enough to have actually done it. To the delight of all the most bloodthirsty people in the government, and elsewhere, and in media, by the way, including Mike Pence. Yes, that's right. Mike Pence, who said this about the man who tried to have him killed. Quote, I couldn't be more proud of President Trump's decisive leadership. In the moment, I saw last night as really a continuation of the policies of our administration, where we isolated Iran as never before. That administration ripped up the Iran deal, one that very strictly kept control of their nuclear program to prevent it from becoming a weapons program. And then, of course, you had these never-Trumpers like Bill Kristol, who told the New York Times this, quote, you've got to go to war with the president you have. If you really think that Iran can't have nuclear weapons, we have a chance to try and finish the job. I wish the president and his administration well in this crisis. I'm sure you do. Oh, I'm sure you do. Great. Now, he also had joked that, oh, baby, the neocons are back. Oh, yeah. Well, they never left. And they apparently now love Donald Trump for what he did. So much for making allies of the never-Trumpers on this issue, because it turns out as soon as he launches one disastrous war in the Middle East, the never-Trumpers come flocking right back. They'll go, oh, yes, yes, sir, yes, this is exactly the kind of leadership we've been waiting for, yes! Oh, we love you, Donald Trump! All the stuff we said about you being an unhinged authoritarian, not true! Not true, we love you! We love you so much! Thank you for attacking Iran! Yes, 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 yes! Oh, it's so great! And here we go. Look, here's the thing. I think it should be pretty obvious by now that this was never about keeping Iran from getting nuclear weapons. They were not close to one. They were not developing one. According to our own intelligence agencies, they were not developing nuclear weapons. Trump's attacks were basically based on vibes. That's it, the vibes. Oh, man, I don't know. It feels like they're close to mushroom clouds, so we're going to have to do it. Come on. No, this was a distraction from Trump and Netanyahu's scandals, because Netanyahu is absolutely corrupt, and Trump's own domestic failures. He is underwater on just about every single issue. But funny enough, okay, Marco Rubio, little Marco, he went and called our own intelligence reports irrelevant. Oh, just forget about intelligence.
Just forget about the evidence.
And that it seems like they have. Oh, they have, absolutely. Now, that said, what does this mean for the MAGA supporters who were supposedly anti-war? Well, we're already seeing most of Congress line up behind all this, lining up to support this because of AIPAC, the Israeli lobby, the military-industrial complex, can't forget about them, and the weirdo Christian nationalist cult members who only really support Israel because it is central to their end times fantasy where, yeah, Jesus comes back after everybody dies and takes the faithful into heaven. And by the way, I said pretty much everybody dies, specifically the Jews. But what about the voters, okay? What about the voters? Well, there's not good news there either. Oh, no. No, there's bad news everywhere, all right? Now, this is according to a new YouGov Snap poll, which found that only 35% of U.S. adults approve of the bombings, 46% disapprove. Well, look at that. Wait a minute, then why is that bad news? Because look at the Republicans. 68% of Republican voters, the people who said that, oh, we can't vote for Kamala Harris because she's going to put us in a war in 6 months. Oh, how ironic. Oh, look at the projection there. They're in favor of it. They're in favor. Of course it is. And so, look, MAGA is lining up once again behind Donald Trump. Because at the end of the day, they're in a cult. And this cult just started a disastrous new Middle East war. Congratulations. Mike Huckabee has been prompting the war of Armageddon for years. Yeah, and guess what? Huckabee loves what's going on. He is tickled pink. All of them are. All of the worst people today are super thrilled. Great. In fact, I am going to talk about some of those people. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Yep. Boy, does this suck. Okay. Over the weekend, President Trump got the United States involved in Israel's disastrous war against Iran, striking 3 of their nuclear energy facilities. Now, Iran had warned of retaliation for those strikes. Apparently, that has now gotten underway, okay, as U.S. bases in the area have been targeted, if not hit. And so, of course, after that retaliation, here comes our retaliation, because we're of course going to retaliate in kind. So here we go. Yes, where does it end? Where does it end? Apparently regime change, as Trump had alluded to in a post on Truth Social. So there's that. Let me show you that real quickly here. It's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change? Okay. Not good. Not good at all. So that said, I was told that a vote for Trump is a vote for peace, that he's not going to send people off to these wars, that he's going to be America first. And if you vote for Harris, it's going to be, oh my God, World War III. You're going to get drafted. It's terrible. But wait a minute. I'm not seeing America first here. I'm seeing Israel first and defense contractors first. So where are these now anti-war Republicans that I kept hearing so much about during the election? Turns out, not really there. Very few and far between, with a couple of notable exceptions. In fact, here, let's first go to Republican voters, where you have, according to a YouGov Snap poll, 68% of Republican voters, they're in favor of these attacks, even though, and this is the next thing here, even though many of them believe that it will lead to a wider war in the Middle East. That's right. 68% of Republicans still support it, even though the majority believes, oh yeah, this is gonna, it's very likely or somewhat likely that here we go, we're gonna do more, it's gonna escalate, and what, but boots on the ground? Oh, here we go. Great. Here we go. Jumping into a disastrous war in Iran. If you thought Iraq was bad, Iran, way worse. Way worse. They got a population of 90 million in that country. Way bigger than Iraq. Way bigger than Afghanistan. What an incredible disaster this is going to be. So now, that said, the people in favor, the neocons, Bill Kristol, Mike Pence, Mark Levin, MAGA Mike Johnson, obviously, Lindsey Graham, who never met a war he didn't like. Here, he said this, quote, "Well done, President Trump. Well done. Getting us involved in another Middle Eastern conflict. Yeah, whoa, it's what we wanted all along. All along." Texas Senator John Cornyn called this a, quote, "courageous and correct decision." Alabama Senator Katie Britt said that these bombings were strong, surgical. Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin said, "America first, always." Except that this isn't America first at all, because Iran was not a threat to America. Not a threat at all. So how's this America first? No, this is Israel first. This is defense contractors first. As always, there's more. Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman Roger Wicker of Mississippi said that Trump made a deliberate and correct decision to eliminate the existential threat posed by the Iranian regime. What? Existential to who? To us? What? These statements are just comical. How was Iran a direct threat to the United States? No, it turns out we were always the threat, and guess what? We just proved it. We are the existential threat to Iran. And it's not the first time we've meddled in that country, too. We overthrew their democratically elected government back in the 50s and installed a brutal dictator, to which then they toppled and installed a religious fundamentalist government. It seems like, I don't know, we effed up the country of Iran real bad, and now the chickens have come home to roost. Okay, so here we go. Now, that said, I mentioned some of the Republicans that are against this. Thomas Massie came out and said Congress should be the one making the decision whether or not to use military force. Okay, that's something. To which Trump said, oh, yeah, you know what? I'm going to primary you now. Yeah, that's right. He said, quote, MAGA is not about lazy, grandstanding, non-productive politicians, of which Thomas Massie is definitely one. Oh, that is projection right there. Really? You want to talk about lazy, grandstanding, non-productive politicians? That pretty much is all of MAGA, and especially you. Then you had Marjorie Taylor Greene, who tried to play both sides, saying this, quote, I can also support President Trump and his great administration on many of the great things they're doing. Like what? While disagreeing on bombing Iran and getting involved in a hot war that Israel started. Disagreeing with his policy is not disloyalty, she added. Critical thinking and having my own opinions is the most American thing ever. Because contrary to what brainwashed Democrat boomers say, oh, the projection, Trump is not a king, MAGA is not a cult, and President Trump has surrounded himself with people who once disagreed with him and even ran against him for president, to which he has forced them to bend the knee. They have bent the knee. Come on, man. And by the way, now that they have bent the knee, they support, well, they either support or lie to themselves and others about what is actually going on. Come on, Marge, what are you doing? I got to ask you whether or not this is cult behavior. These are posts from, look at all these MAGA people, right? Oh, if you're no longer MAGA because Trump wiped out Iran's nuclear sites, you were never MAGA to begin with. Gunther Ingeman, oh, if you're upset that Trump took out Obama's nuclear facility. What the? I mean, that's just, what the hell? Obama. Oh, come on. Val, you're no longer MAGA because Trump wiped out nuclear sites. You were never MAGA in the first place, so a nice little cop pasta over there. Barron, oh, I may upset a lot of people with this, but you're no longer MAGA because Trump wiped out Iran's nuclear sites. You were never MAGA to begin with. Again, that's it. Are you sure that this is not a cult? Because that sounds like the cult got the talking points. Seriously. So, look, at the end of the day, I have a feeling that we're going to see whatever MAGA anti-war people that are left, and there's not many to begin with, all right, they will be lining up to support Donald Trump's new war. Almost guaranteed. Look, on Sunday, Chris LaCivita spoke to Axios and said, you know what? Any Republican who undermines Trump on this issue, we're going to come after them. We're going to primary them. That's right. And in addition to this PAC, there's already a PAC who also will likely target any Republican who speaks out against this military action, which means, of course, you have the majority of Republicans, the majority of congressional Republicans, and Trump's cabinet that seems to be firmly behind this conflict. Where's the anti-war? Where's the anti-war right that I keep getting told, oh, no, they're going to hold him accountable. Trust me. Trust us. That's the line. No war with Iran. No war with Iran. It's the line, okay? Then they're going to turn on Trump. They're going to hold him accountable. Where are you? Where the fuck are you? You were never there to begin with. MAGA's anti-war mask has been completely and firmly pulled right off. Okay? That's it. You are the war party. Y'all are the war party. Now, look, that said, I would be doing a massive disservice if I didn't mention the fact that, yes, while Republicans are the ones that keep starting these wars, Democrats are the ones that keep enabling the Republicans to do so. How so? How so? By delegating more and more authority to the executive branch over the years to presidents Bush, and Obama to keep doing more war, not reining them in. Now, Democrats, of course, are doing the thing too late that they should have done 10 years ago, 20 years ago, to try to bring back the power to declare war to Congress. But it's too late. Like I said, this is after decades of delegating it to Republican presidents, while Democratic presidents, again, Republicans will start the war, and Democrats will continue those wars until they are forced to end them. Iraq and Afghanistan, great example. They were ended, yes, by Democrats, but guess what? Far too late. Far too late. Never should have been started in the first place. If only they hadn't sat there and continued to help Republicans, okay, by giving the president more and more power to do unilateral strikes after 9/11, then perhaps none of this would have happened. Okay. Moving on. So let's get away from the war talk here. And move on. A Trump-supporting Republican voter has found out after ICE arrested and detained his wife. That's right. Keeps happening. Big shocker. This time, David Prine, a disabled U.S. Marine Corps veteran and current social services representative at the VA's National Call Center for Homeless Veterans, recently spoke to Newsweek. He said, "Hey, look, I supported President Trump 2016, 2020, and 2024. I donated almost all my net income in 2015 to his campaign, earning an inaugural invite. His reward? His wife's going to be deported." Yeah, that's right. That's right. Jennifer Correa Ganan, 35, entered the U.S. legally under the CBP-1 parole program in January of 2024, fleeing violence in Colombia with her daughter, Anna Maria, according to David. Now, she came to the United States. She started working at UPS and later Virginia Tech. So now she came here legally. Okay? So if she was here legally, what's the issue? Well, Donald Trump. He gets into power and is like, you know what? Immigrants, they're guilty of something. They got to go. We're going to do mass deportation of the criminals and the rapists and the mentally insane. And of course, he's deporting all the people who are not criminals, rapists, or mentally insane. So there you go. Now, the couple initially had sought a marriage-based green card, but we're told the process could take years because we're not really putting resources into making things more efficient, because the whole purpose of immigration under Republicans is to keep people out, not to streamline and help people get in the right way, but to kick more people out. If you didn't think that was the whole point, now you know. Now you know. Now, David actually ended up getting shot in the face during a 2023 robbery in Colombia, showing how, of course, dangerous it is there. And so they came to the United States seeking safety. Now, that said, that did not last. Didn't last at all. The couple, in April 2025, a national revocation of parole left Ganan without legal status. She then filed for a motion for voluntary departure on May 5th, knowing that, hey, look, I got to get out of here, okay? Obviously, this country does not want us here, so we got to go somewhere else. Now, even after doing everything that she's supposed to do, her case was rejected due to a clerical error. And days later, after a domestic argument on May 17th in Christiansburg, Virginia, local police ended up arresting her. ICE then placed a detainer and transferred her to the South Texas ICE Processing Center on May 29th. Those state charges, by the way, all of them were dismissed, okay? And yet, Jennifer remains detained. Her bond motions were denied, and her next hearing is set for July 29th. She wants to leave. She's like, okay, just let me leave the country already. You don't want me here. That's pretty obvious. So just let me go. And they said, no, we are going to drag this thing out as long as possible. Okay, that's what we're going to do. In fact, her husband said she is not asking to stay. She only wants to return to Colombia with her daughter. I even offered to post a $50,000 cash bond, personally escort her. She has begged ICE for permission to depart voluntarily, yet she remains incarcerated. Gee, I wonder if that's because the private prison industry is involved and they want more people in those beds because then they get more money. Now, of course, her being incarcerated is disastrous for the family. In fact, without Jennifer, he says the family is barely managing. Quote, she was the only person helping me care for our household and our two children, including her daughter, Anna Maria, and my teenage daughter, Dakota. I'm overwhelmed, watching my mental health slip while trying to care for everyone. Anna cries for her mom daily. Her drawings cover our fridge. She doesn't understand why her mother was taken. Well, she only needs to look at you and your vote to, get the answer to that one. Dakota is also emotionally struggling. We are a fractured household, doing our best. Yes, because of you. That's your fault. You did this. Now, with that said, you would think that he might think, okay, maybe this is a turning point here. All right. Maybe him supporting Trump, maybe he's having second thoughts, right? Nope. He told Newsweek, I still support him today. How? And I hope he would show compassion and recognize that this family deserves dignity and closure. I got bad news for you, brother. You ain't gonna get that. He doesn't give a shit about you. He is not gonna help you. He already got your vote, which is all he really wanted. And since he has it now, he's not gonna lift a finger to help you. I'd be very, very surprised if he did anything to help these people. Anything at all. These people actually believe that he cares about them. I mean, it's kind of like thinking the stripper is actually into you. She's not, although I do feel bad about making that comparison because sex workers are actually deserving of respect, unlike Donald Trump, who deserves no respect. This is what happens, though, to the people that support him. Not only are they finding out when this happens, because this ain't the first story, this ain't going to be the last one. Oh, no. Not only are they finding out, though, but guess what? Even after, they still cling on to this. They're still supporting him. No matter what. No matter what. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's stubbornness, maybe it's pride, maybe it's the fact that they're just too far gone. I don't know. But there it is anyway. Can't fix stupid. Okay. So we got some good news and bad news. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is back in the United States following his return from El Salvador's infamous CCOT concentration camp. So, look, his case has been one that we've been following for quite some time since he was accidentally sent to this horrific place in another country. But now he has been ordered back, and he is back, but the story is not over. And in fact, it's not really all that great either. According to CNN, Abrego Garcia is being held in Tennessee because he is being indicted on smuggling, human trafficking charges, saying that, he was smuggling undocumented immigrants across state lines. That's right. Yeah, he was also a member of a gang. Really? Where's the evidence there? Where is there evidence? I don't know. It's kind of making me think that they don't have any.
Just forget about the evidence.
In fact, that's kind of what the government is arguing. Is forget about the evidence. Trust me, bro. Trust me. Now, as a result of this lack of evidence, you have a federal judge that's like, you got to let this guy go. He does not deserve to be in pretrial detention. In fact, this is Magistrate Judge Barbara Holmes of federal court in Nashville. She said on Sunday that the government has failed to prove that Abrego Garcia endangered any minor victim, or that he might try to flee from the law, or might attempt to obstruct justice. Now, the Justice Department was making these arguments, saying, what a danger. He's got tattoos. Did you know that? He's got tattoos, and they might be MS-13 tattoos, so we gotta keep him behind bars. He can't be free, you see, because he is such a danger. Oh, what a dangerous person. Except that he's not. Okay, they've got absolutely nothing. In fact, she noted that under federal criminal law, which is supposed to follow, okay, the Justice Department has not even shown that it has enough evidence to even hold a hearing seeking pretrial detention. So once again, what do they got? Nothing. They have nothing. No reason to hold this man. Nothing. So, nonetheless, before I get to that, Holmes' 51-page ruling said that some of the DOJ's accusations about Abrego Garcia are overblown, okay, built upon evidence with questionable reliability from a traffic stop, cooperators in the case providing information to law enforcement through hearsay, and a shaky theory of victimizing children in an alleged human smuggling operation when that has not even been charged or proved by the DOJ. Do you know who is doing human trafficking right now? That is the Trump administration. When they have been sending migrants who were here illegally to detention in other countries, claiming that they're violent criminals. Oh my God, they're terrorists even. Really? The majority of the people, about 65% of migrants that have been sent to places like El Salvador, have no criminal record here or anywhere else. Anywhere else. That said, Holmes wrote this: there's no dispute the offenses of which Abrego is charged are not crimes against children, and the involvement of a minor child is not an element of the charged offenses. The government cannot simply rely on the general reputation of a particular street gang, that's Tren de Agua, to argue Abrego Garcia may be dangerous if he has ties. Oh, and of course, I'm sorry, that's the Venezuelan gang. They're accusing him of being MS-13. So my bad on that one. But they're claiming, they're tied to MS-13, the gang tattoos on his knuckles, which are not actually gang tattoos at all. But the Justice Department continues to argue that, and they are citing these cooperators that, according to the judge, are facing their own charges and deportations. So maybe they're trying to argue, no, we got information, but you know what? You can't deport me if I've got information, if I'm cooperating. You see. So, yeah, there you go. Now, here's the thing, though. Okay, their case against Abrego Garcia is absolute garbage. It is a garbage case with no evidence to back them up. But as I've shown, they don't need evidence. Oh, no. And that is because of a recent law that was passed. So that is why, even though this is good news and should lead to his release, it won't. Why? Immigration authorities are able to keep him detained separate from his criminal case, and that is thanks to the Laken-Riley Act. That's right, which requires the detention of unauthorized immigrants accused of theft and violent crime. So, now, congratulations to all the Democrats who voted for this. Senator John Fetterman, Catherine Cortez Masto, New Hampshire Democratic Senator Jeanne Shaheen, Maggie Hassan, Virginia Senator Mark Warner, and Arizona Senator Ruben Gallego. All of you voted for the Laken-Riley Act, which helped Donald Trump and ICE and allowed for stuff like this to happen. That's right. Good job. Good job. You all suck and deserve to be primaried into oblivion. All right? Gone. They better get primaried. And of course, the Democratic establishment is going to defend them. Oh, we need these people. Bipartisanship. This is what your bipartisanship gets. This guy being unjustly imprisoned after being sent by the Trump administration to a concentration camp. This is what you did. The Democrats who supported this is your fault. This is what you did. This is what you enabled. All right? This is on Republicans, yes, as well as their enablers. And that is the thing that needs to be addressed far more than it is now. I'm tired of Democratic enablers. I'm tired of these people. I'm tired of them all. I'm tired of we got to be bipartisan. We got to support Donald Trump and the Laken-Riley Act. You don't understand. No, I do understand. I understand that you suck. And I understand that you deserve to lose your job. That's it. Period. Look, you cannot criticize an administration for violating due process when you are voting to allow the administration to violate due process. That's it. Period. Look, I hope that when this is all over, and when Abrego Garcia wins his case, beats the Trump administration on these BS charges, that he doesn't stop there. That he sues the shit out of Donald Trump and his administration for, I don't know, you name it, mental distress, perhaps? Violation of his constitutional rights of due process? Whatever else. I hope he does that, and I hope he wins big. Am I clear? Notice APAC mainstream media almost burying the RJ Maith. Okay. Oh yeah, I talked about him. Yeah, that's if he was progressive, the news would make it headlines all week. Yeah. Well, they're always running cover for the worst people, and I'm sick of that too. There's a lot to be sick of. Speaking of being sick of things, let's get to this next story. A Republican congresswoman that nearly died as a result of Florida's abortion ban is unsurprisingly blaming the left. That's right. Because of course she is. Of course she is. Oh, yes. Florida Republican Representative Kat Cammack recently spoke to the Wall Street Journal about her near brush with death, okay, as a result of Florida's 6-week abortion ban, which left hospital staff reluctant to treat her ectopic pregnancy for fear of criminal prosecution. Now, let me ask, who passed that abortion ban? Oh, Republicans. Who supported that abortion ban? Republicans. Who allowed those abortion bans to be able to take place in the first place? That would be Republicans on the Supreme Court that got rid of Roe. Once again, thanks to Republican President Donald Trump. Okay, so whose fault is it then? Obviously the left. It's the Patrick Star wallet meme come to life. I swear. This is insane. Insane. But here we go. Now, speaking to the Journal, Kamek 37 recounted her horrific experience. And by the way, it is horrific. In an unnamed Florida hospital's emergency room on May 31st, 2024, when it was discovered that there was absolutely no way for her baby's embryo to survive and that her own life was in danger without surgery, without action. Not just surgery, by the way, but that is one of the options. Now, a doctor discovered the embryo implanted with a fallopian tube meets the uterus, which is a corneal ectopic pregnancy. She was told, hey, if that ruptures, you're dead. This is going to kill you if you don't end this pregnancy now. Now, she decided against having the surgery, but was eventually persuaded to get a shot of methotrexate, which, of course, would expel that pregnancy. Okay, so there you go. Now, why did she have to be persuaded? Why? I mean, especially if you're learning that, hey, there is no way for this pregnancy to continue, and if you don't get it out of you now, you are going to die. Now, that said, okay, the, it's not her that, by the way, had to be persuaded to get the shot. No, it was the facility's doctors and nurses. And why was that? It's because of the state's abortion ban. The staff was legitimately afraid of losing their medical license and being sent to prison if they ended up giving her a drug that would end her pregnancy. So now Kamek was 5 weeks pregnant at the time. The embryo had no heartbeat, no fetal heart tissue or anything like that, or pre-heart tissue. And it was also clear, again, that it was going to kill her. Nevertheless, the Congresswoman found herself having to pull up the letter of the law on her phone to argue the case, and had even put in a call to Governor Ron DeSantis. Hey, Ron, Meatball Ron, come help me out. I need you to help me out because I will die if I don't get this shot. Okay, if I don't get this thing out. Now, here's the thing. It wasn't even possible for her to reach him. What? She goes straight to voicemail? Is that what happened? Eventually, the staff gave up and were like, okay, fine. Yes, we have to save your life, so we're going to do it. They went ahead with the procedure, and she is, thanks to modern medical science, and yes, abortion, she lives. And by the way, is pregnant again. Due in August, I believe. So, okay, there you go. Now, instead, of course, realizing that, oh my God, it turns out these abortion bans are very, very unclear, and maybe they're doing more harm than good, she decided, no, everything's fine, and you damn Democrats, that's your fault. What? She called the activists that were describing correctly situations like hers that could happen and have happened to women since these abortion bans came into play. She called it, quote, absolute fear-mongering at its worst. Wow. And it gets better. She said of this story, oh, there will be some comments like, well, thank God we have abortion services, even though what I went through wasn't an abortion. Wait, what? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Yes, it is. It's an abortion. You had an abortion. You ended a pregnancy with drugs. That is actually technically an induced abortion. You had an abortion, lady. You had an abortion. That's it. That's what you had. And no, I didn't have an abortion. No. No, it was a miscarriage. Now, abortions that occur without intervention, yes, are known as miscarriages or spontaneous abortions. But guess what? Oh, and by the way, that does occur in roughly 30 to 40% of all pregnancies. By the way, miscarriages do. But once again, she had an induced abortion. That's it. That's it. She can play a whole stupid little word game she wants, but the fact is that she had an abortion to save her life. Simple as that. But, oh, no, I guess for her, oh, it's to save my life, so it's not actually an abortion. You know why? Because abortions are bad, because only whores and evil Democrats get abortions. And I am neither one of those things. Oh, okay. Right. All right. Now, she added this, quote, I would stand with any woman, Republican or Democrat, and fight for them to be able to get care in a situation where they're experiencing a miscarriage and ectopic pregnancy. Well, guess what? The fix for that is to get an abortion. Yes. She added this, quote, we have turned the conversation about women's health care into two camps, pink hats and pink ribbons. It's either breast cancer or abortion. Wait, what are you talking about? Those things are not really related. I don't know if she's trying to relate those things. I don't know. The context there is kind of missing. But anyway, look, at the end of the day, yes, it may not sound like it, but I am actually very glad that she was able to get the care that she needed. Okay, I don't want, and this is kind of the weird thing. Okay, this is a disconnect between pro-life and pro-choice. Pro-life Republicans and pro-choice, liberals or lefties or whatever, right? People that are pro-choice. We want to save your life. We want to allow you to live. We want you to get the health care that you need to survive. Yes, I know. Crazy, right? If you're on the other side of that and you ironically call yourself pro-life when you're in favor of, hey, well, no, but if you need an abortion, you shouldn't be able to have it. And I don't care if you die. Well, then can't exactly call yourself pro-life. Now, can you? Look, at the end of the day, I want everyone who needs it to be able to get that care. But they're not. They're not getting that care. Look, women have died as a result of these bans, and some nearly died needlessly. That is a real problem. That is a real problem created by these disastrous bans. That's it. In fact, according to Dr. Allison Haddock, president of the American College of Emergency Physicians, it is becoming very common for doctors in states that have restricted abortion access to worry, quote, whether their clinical judgment will stand should there be any prosecution. This has been a real stress point for a lot of our physicians. Yeah. And you know what? What do you expect? You have, okay, a political party that literally has gotten in between women and their doctors. I remember when they said that they were against that whole thing. Oh, I don't want the big government getting in between you and your doctor. Death panels. You remember the death panels? These are the same people now sticking big government into the operating room. Okay, when it comes to women. And by the way, not just sticking big government into the operating room. Oh, no, they're sticking it right up in women's uteruses. That's what they're doing. And yet she wants to blame for that problem that her party caused the pro-choice activists? Really? The ones who were against the bans? And pointed out that, hey, whoa. Hey, look, these bans are pretty vague. All right, not just in Florida, but in, elsewhere. There's a lot of confusion. And guess what? In this confusion, women may die. Yeah. Because, in Florida specifically, ectopic pregnancies weren't even defined. So, I mean, there it is. The only confusion here was created by her own party. So to sit there and blame pro-choice activists and the left for something that her party did for endangering her life is just, I mean, I don't even know if hypocrisy is the correct word anymore. I don't even know if there is a good word for this. But I tell you what, you know, I just want to prevent this from happening to other people. And it would be real nice if more people agreed. If the people in power making the rules actually understood that and cared about life. Okay? And we don't have that. The people who are calling themselves, oh, we're pro-life, are about the least pro-life people you could imagine. Okay. And there it is. That's the show today. Very angry show. I think the weather, the hot weather is getting me to be real hot. Okay. Hot commentary, you know, coming right at you. But there it is. And so there you go. That's the show today. Thank you for watching. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. I want to thank Uncle Fatty for signing up to become a member on our YouTube channel. You can join us by hitting the join button below if you're on YouTube. You can also support us on Patreon. You can support us on Facebook by signing up to become a channel supporter, a subscriber on that platform. You can also join us on Twitch, and there are all sorts of different places and ways to support the show. So, all right. Anyway, patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. If you want to support the show, you want to support the channel, and what we're doing here. All right. With that said, everybody, take care of yourselves. Stay out of the heat if possible. I know it's difficult, but if you have to go out there, hydrate, and not like in a weird way like Marco Rubio. Okay. Drink water like a normal person and not Marco Rubio. But as long as you drink water, I guess I really don't care. Take care of yourself. Okay. That said, I'm going to go park my ass in front of a fan or something, because it is way too hot and terrible in here. Okay. So love you all. Have a good afternoon, and we'll see you back here tomorrow, right here. And remember, change begins with you.